My 100 favorite pro wrestling matches like ever. So let's get started. So I'm gonna go from 100 to 1. So at number 100, I've got Ospreay versus Michael Oku 2020. That match at high stakes, I'm pretty sure. That match was amazing. They did have another one which is better, which will be in the list as well. But yeah, that number 100, amazing match. Then Ricochet versus Carmelo Hayes at Worlds Collide. Like, it was just sick. I don't think people like it as much as I do. I just think the match is so sick, so it's definitely in my top 100 for sure. Then Ilya Dragunov versus Ciampa on SmackDown 2025. We saw that recently. Before Ciampa went to AEW, it was like a couple weeks before, something like that. But that match, oh my god, it was like a big fight. It's definitely on my top 100, and it's crazy because it was like not that long ago, but the match is so good. Then at number 97, I've got Yoto versus Konosuke, Wrestle Kingdom 20. Amazing match, but it wasn't the best match because at number 96, I've got Hiroshi versus Okada, Wrestle Kingdom 20. Hiroshi's last match. Amazing match, absolutely perfect. Then I've got at 95, Hangman Adam Page versus Moxley, All In 2025. Incredible. It was like the Roman Cody WrestleMania one. It was like the end game. Amazing. It wasn't as good as the Roman Cody, but it was like really close. So amazing match. At 94, I've got Kenny versus Rey Fenix 2021. Amazing match. Very sick. Then 93, I've got Bryan versus Swerve 2024. The one where Bryan wins the title. His entrance is sick. The match is sick. All of it is just sick. Amazing. At 92 is Cody Rhodes versus Dustin Rhodes. Double or Nothing 2019. It's just perfect. Like, what can you say? It's so good. Then I've got Ospreay versus Hiroshi, G1 29, G1 Classic, G1 Climax 29. Then at 90, I've got Ibushi versus Jay White, G1 29, the same one. Then I've got Rhea and Io Evolution 2025. 88, I've got Ricochet versus Kushida, Best of Super Junior XXI, amazing match. Then at 87, I've got Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher, Full Gear 2024, incredible. Then 86, Ospreay versus Konosuke versus Ricochet, Wrestle Dream 2024. Ospreay's going to be here a bunch because he's like my favorite wrestler, so I love him. He's going to be here a lot. Then 85, we've got Shibata versus Hiroshi Kobe 2024. Amazing match. Then at 84, Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho, Wrestle Kingdom 12. It's incredible. I didn't think Jericho could go like that, but damn, he did. Then Shinsuke versus Hiroshi, G1 Climax 25. Then at 82, Birds of Prey versus Phantasmo and Tajiri, 2019. Then 81, AJ Styles versus Okada, Dominion 7.5. 80, I've got AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe versus Christopher Daniels, Unbreakable 2005. A lot of people's favorite match, incredible match, but I think there's a lot of them ahead. Then at 79, I've got HBK versus Jericho, WrestleMania 19. Oh my, I love this match. It's so good. Such good technical wrestling. Then at 78, I've got Ospreay versus Darby 2024. That's the one where he goes off the barricade and hits his back. That's incredible. Then at 77, I've got Aussie Open versus the Vo City 2021. I saw this match and I was like, what the hell? This is like one of the best matches I've ever seen. Then at 76, I've got Kenny Omega versus Hiroshi Tanahashi, Wrestle Kingdom 13. Incredible match. Then at 75, Ospreay vs. Pac, All Out 2024. That was insane, like the Hurricane Runners and all that. Then at 74, I've got Kenny Omega versus Vikingo, AEW Dynamite. 73, Okada versus Ibushi, Wrestle Kingdom 14. These matches are just so sick. Every single one of them, even 100, they're all so sick. Then the Young Bucks versus Lucha Bros, the Steel Cage match. Incredible. A lot of people don't like it because they didn't sell it much. I don't care. It's incredible. Then at number 70, I've got Ospreay versus Konosuke, Revolution 2024. That was pretty recent. Then at 69, I've got Hangman versus Swerve, Full Gear. Like the Texas Death Match. Incredible. Then at 68, I've got Punk versus Cena, Money in the Bank 2011. Then 67, I've got Gabe Kidd versus Kenny Omega 2025. That was at the start of the year. Then at 66, I've got Ospreay versus Zack Sabre Jr., New Japan Cup 2021. Then at 65, I've got the same match but 2022. Then at 64, Ospreay versus Swerve 2024, Forbidden Door. Incredible. 63, Ospreay versus Hangman Adam Page, Double or Nothing 2025, for the Owen Hart Cup. Incredible match. 62, I've got AJ Styles versus Marufuji Noah 2024. That match was incredible. 61, I've got Ospreay versus Zack Sabre Jr. Rev Pro 2020. Then at 60, I've got Hiromu versus, I don't even know how to pronounce his name, Tajahari, Best of Super Junior. Incredible. 59, I've got Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns, WrestleMania 40. Then at 58, I've got HBK versus Undertaker, WrestleMania 25. A lot of people's favorite match. It's not mine. Then at 57, I've got Brett versus Austin, WrestleMania 13. Incredible. Then at 56, I've got Ospreay versus Okada, Wrestle Kingdom 15. 55, I've got AJ versus John Cena, SummerSlam 2016. Then at 54, AJ versus John, Royal Rumble 2017. Then 53, AJ vs. Cody, Backlash 2024. The crowd made that match what it is, and the crowd helped big time. Then at 52, I've got AJ vs. Cena, Crown Jewel 2025. Incredible match. 51, Zack Sabre vs. Bryan, Wrestle Dream 2023. Then at 50, I've got Hiroshi vs. Ibushi, G1 Climax 2049. I've got Ospreay vs. Speedball Mike Bailey in 2023. That was incredible in TNA. Then Ospreay versus Yoto Kobe 2023. That's 48. Then 47, AJ Styles versus Ibushi Invasion 2015. 46, Ospreay versus Josh Alexander, the second one in 2024. The best TNA match that year for sure. Then 45, Ospreay versus Shingo G1 32. Then 44, Ospreay versus Ibushi G1 Climax 29. Then at 43, AJ versus Shizuki. That match was incredible. Then 42, Ospreay versus Hiromu versus Marty versus Kushida, Wrestle Kingdom 12. Incredible Fatal 4-Way. 41, MJF versus Bryan, that 1 hour match at Revolution. Then at 40, Ospreay versus Zack Sabre Jr., Royal Quest 2023. At 39, I've got Okada versus Ospreay, Wrestle Kingdom 16. Then at 38, MJF versus Ospreay, their hour-long match on Dynamite. That's probably his best hour-long match. I think it's better than Bryan, personally. Then at 37, Konosuke versus Phantasmo, G1 34. Then 36, Sami Zayn versus Shinsuke Nakamura, Dallas. That match was incredible. Then at 35, Naito versus Kenny, G1 28. Then at 34, I've got Kenny versus Ospreay, Forbidden Door 2023. Then at 33, Ospreay versus Kushida, Best of Super Junior 2017. 32, Kenta versus Marufuji, 2006, Navigate Noah, like the autumn. Then at 31, Ospreay versus Okada, G1 29. Then at 30, I've got Walter versus Ilya, TakeOver 36. Then at 29, I've got Kenny versus Bryan, 2021 on Dynamite. 28, Ospreay versus Shingo, G1 30. At 27, I've got Ospreay versus Naito, Autumn 2022. At 26, Adam Cole versus Johnny Gargano, New York. Then at 25, I've got Walter versus Ilya, NXT UK. Then at 24, Ibushi versus Shinsuke, Wrestle Kingdom 9. Then at 23, Ospreay versus Okada, G1 32. At 22, I've got Ospreay versus Umino, Power Struggle 2023. At 21, I've got Kenny Omega versus Okada, G1 27. At 20, I've got Ospreay versus Shingo, New Japan Cup 2021. Then at 19, I've got Ospreay versus Oku 2024. That was the one at 100 of 2022. But the 2024 was better and it was incredible. Then at 18, I have got Ospreay versus Hiromu, Wrestle Kingdom 14. I'm hoping Hiromu comes to WWE soon. Then at 17, I've got Kenny Omega versus Naito, G1 Climax 26. Then at 16, I've got Kyle versus Kushida, Best of Super Junior 2015. I love that match so much. At 15, I've got Ospreay versus Bryan, Dynasty 2024. A lot of people's favorite match. It's not my favorite match at all. It's in the top 15, though, as you can see, but it's not number 1, I don't think, at all. And number 14, the Young Bucks versus Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page 2020. That match was incredible. At 13, I've got Bryan versus Zack Sabre Jr. Ozarka 2024. At 12, I've got Okada versus Shibata Genesis 2017. Then at 11, I've got Kenny versus Okada, Dominion 2017. Now we're into the top 10 of my favorite matches ever. We have got Ospreay versus Shingo, Donataku 2021. Incredible match. At number 9, we have got Ospreay vs Shingo, Best of Super Junior 2019. At number 8, a WWE match, Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 2021. I love that match so much. It's my favorite WWE match for sure. Then at number 7, I've got AJ Styles vs Shinsuke Nakamura, Wrestle Kingdom 10. At number 6, Naito versus Ospreay, G1 Climax 33. Number 5 now. Number 5 is Kenny Omega versus Naito, G1 27. Number 4 is Ibushi versus Kenny, the Peter Pan, like the 2012 match where he jumps off the balcony. Incredible. At number 3 is Kenny Omega versus Okada, Dominion 2018. At number 2, Ospreay versus Kenny, Wrestle Kingdom 17. And number 1 is Kenny Omega versus Okada, Wrestle Kingdom 11. That is my favorite match of all time. I think it's the best. Kenny versus Okada, Wrestle Kingdom 11 is like the perfect match. It's the best match I've ever seen. Let me know what you think, and that's my favorite match. So let me know what your favorite match is.